Fpyq. Chapter 38. The Yun River. Li Chen was furious to the point where his eyes almost bulged from their sockets. Chu Qing threw himself at him to restrain him. With a hand, Qi Yunying muffled Li Chen's mouth. All the while, Qi Yunruo rode his horse out of the forest, toward the northwest. "Chase the Han Prince!" yelled one of the Qiang soldiers. And immediately, they turned directions and went after Qi Yunruo. Li Chen clawed at the ground, so much so that red stained his fingertips. Meanwhile, Qi Yunying and Chu Qing lowered their heads, no longer looking toward where Qi Yunruo had gone off. They could only strive their best to restrain Li Chen, until the group of over 100 Qiang soldiers disappeared in the night. Following that, Chu Qing and the guards dropped to their knees before Li Chen. As he gazed in the direction in which Qi Yunruo had vanished, Qi Yunying's heart gradually sank. Dawn had already spread through the horizon. Li Chen stood and raised his head to look above. The sky of the northwest was unexpectedly clear. Above, a flock of geese broke through the blue horizon. In the morning, the birds of the forest made their calls and cries. The violence of last night did not affect them. Who pitied the lost shadow, separated by countless clouds? As Qi Yunruo rode Hongsuan, behind him rang the voices of other horses and people neither far nor close away. Qi Yunruo did not glance behind and only clutched to the reins. He only looked forward. Hongsuan understood the danger of their situation. It was already exhausted but did not slow down from the start. Qi Yunruo heard from behind him the sounds of the Qiang tongue, of them yelling angrily at him in a mesh of voices. All of a sudden, a sound so loud it could be heard over all the shouts. Qi Yunruo lowered his body to the horse without thinking. A sharp arrow pierced flesh. He gritted his teeth, clamped his legs tight on the horse's body and said, "Go!" Struck by an arrow, Hongsuan neighed, shrill to the ears, but it galloped at a higher speed. Blood continued to flow from the wound on its behind. Qi Yunruo fought back his tears and said softly, "Keep holding on for a while, Hongsuan, just a little more and it'll be enough." When Hongsuan was more than 100 feet away from a cliff, another arrow struck it and the steed collapsed on the ground in an instant. Qi Yunruo fell off. He could hear the excited cries behind him and turned to glance at his pursuers. Then he looked at the cliff. Qi Yunruo stoked Hongsuan, who was crying out softly. He rubbed his head on the horse's belly. Hongsuan's body twitched, eyes glistening with tears. Qi Yunruo rose to his feet. All of a sudden, he broke into a sprint toward the cliff and threw his body over the edge. "Scoundrel!" The leader of the group of Qiang soldiers stopped his horse. With a howl, he ran to the cliff's edge where he saw that the heavy currents of the river had already washed away the Han Prince. "What should we do?" The second prince said. "To capture him alive. Only then can we force the army stationed in Yuè Pass to surrender." The leader of the group of Qiang soldiers narrowed his eyes. "Go down from the other side. We must see him even if it's a corpse." "Yes." The currents of the Yun River roared. Qi Yunruo floated up and down the water and quickly lost consciousness. Ever since Li Yao had been moved to Buahgur's large tent, Cheng Sija left the royal capital of the Qiang, but he did not return to Zenyuan country. It was because of the action of the Yuè Pass in capturing his spies had caused him great upset. The spies he had planted in Yuè Pass had been very useful and important to him. If Zhao Wei had truly captured them all, he didn't know how much effort and time it would take to replace them. As he rode his horse in a sprint, he received a very interesting piece of news. After Cha, he contacted the people of Zenyuan country who scattered in all directions and acted as bandits obstructing Sidi. Yuan Fpyq found Cheng Sija and told him everything. Cheng Sija touched his chin and murmured, "How interesting." Currently, he wasn't clear about what had occurred last night and didn't know if Li Chen had perished from Sida's schemes, but if Li Chen wanted to retreat without an issue, one would fear that would not be easy. Cheng Sija muttered, "Sida blatantly cooperated with us. It's evident that he doesn't believe we can figure out his master's identity." "Prince Jing? Prince Jing?" Aya, aya. I can't figure it out. The ancestors of the Cheng family made up the imperial family of the great state of Hong, the dynasty before the great state of Kong. It was a noble family that had existed for who knew how many centuries. Then one day, soldiers stormed the gates of the Forbidden City and forced the last emperor of the previous dynasty to abdicate the throne. After that, the new imperial family experienced the highest honor for hundreds of years. It had been a little-known man that had broken through the gates of the great state of Hong. Even if one called him a peasant, it wouldn't have been too far from the truth. Cheng Sija clicked his tongue and sighed. The Li family wrote in the history books that back when my grandfather had reigned, the princes fought for power and the civilians were impoverished. They wanted to dump the dirty water of brothers killing each other over our heads. What's the difference between what they're doing now and what we had done in the past? Yuan Fpyq's face did not reveal a shred of emotion. It's just that inside the pass, other than me and Chahi, I'm afraid the other spies have already been disposed of. At this point, Cheng Sija understood. He smiled. I feel like this might not be the case. Sita is knowledgeable about the people in the pass, but Zhao Weidu? Perhaps not. They will only round up all the people that make movements after Li Chen leaves Yushu Pass. Our men aren't fools. They won't all act at once. Yuan Fpyq nodded. The two led some servants alongside the river, before making their way back to Xinyuan country. Cheng Sija contemplated the situation. This time, if Fpyq killed Li Chen, his status among the Qiang people would prove unshakable. This person, Fpyq, was easier to manipulate than Yuè Hóu. Fpyq was just like his father, arrogant and possessing the belief that he was always right. However, if Sita did not delay enough, then Fpyq would meet a quick death, which would bring Cheng Sija unhappiness. Yuè Hóu, this person, was too cunning. Moreover, he wasn't easy to fool. If he and Princess Li joined forces, Princess Li would help him. Who was the third prince of the Qiang? Yuan Fpyq yanked his reins back, breaking Cheng Sija from his reverie. Your Highness, there's someone ahead. Cheng Sija lifted his gaze for a look where he caught sight of someone caught in a tree by the Yun River. That person seemed to be conscious, clutching hard at the branches. As Yuan Fpyq approached with his horse, the person seemed to be more and more familiar. Once he saw who it was, a smile appeared on his lips. He glanced back at Cheng Sija. Cheng Sija arched a brow. He noticed the person's clothes first and couldn't help but say, "Is it Prince Chen, Li Chen?" Yuan Fpyq waved to meant the negative, then he hauled the person out of the water. It's not Prince Chen. It's the person who warms his bed. Cheng Sija tapped his fan on his palm. With a calm voice he asked, "He's alive? Ask him where Prince Chen is, if he's dead or alive." Yes. One of their servants patted Qi Yunruo's back hard to help expel the water in his belly. After Qi Yunruo threw up all the water, he dry heaved a few times. Then he lifted his head and saw the person he had seen yesterday morning. Sitting on the ground, he coldly stared at Yuan Fpyq without a word. "Do you recognize me?" asked Yuan Fpyq. Cheng Sija overthought it. Could it be that Prince Chen really brought a male pet to the battlefield? He should know how dangerous it was. Last night, where did they fight? How could such a person be here? Did Prince Chen die or was he still alive? He swept his gaze through Qi Yunruo, the look in his eyes was chilling. Why are you wearing Li Chen's clothes? Were you luring his pursuers away? That's good. Looks like the Han Prince is still alive. Qi Yunruo stared at him. Meanwhile Cheng Sija seemed to have thought of something else. I recall the male pet that Li Chen brought with him is from the Qi family. He clicked his tongue then continued, the Qi family is truly getting worse each generation. Speaking of which, a forefather of the Qi family caused a lot of problems for the Cheng family's last emperor and killed numerous generals of the Cheng family. He was the one who brought his men to break through the capital gates. For this reason, Cheng Sija circled Qi Yunruo on horseback twice. He said to himself, should I kill you as revenge for my ancestors or wait and see if Li Chen will come for you? Such a hard decision. Qi Yunruo had managed to catch his words and said without thinking, kill me. A light flashed in Cheng Siji's eyes. So you're saying Li Chen would look for you? That he might be willing to exchange something for you? Voice thick with anger, Qi Yunruo said, you. Cheng Siji nodded. Take him away. Help him into new clothes and don't let him die. The moment Zhao Weidu had read the order from Li Chen's messenger, he personally brought his troops to join the search. Nevertheless, he was late. More than half of the 2,000 men had safely returned to Yusha Pass. There were still a few hundred that could have been killed in battle or have yet to return. Sita did not return yet. Li Chen stared into the distance as he softly asked, how many people did you bring? 20,000. Li Chen hopped onto the horse. Bring 10,000 to chase after Sita's army and exterminate Fpyq's remaining soldiers. His voice proved cold and cruel. Hand the other 10,000 men to me. Chu Qing said, Your Highness, please allow this subordinate to go in your instead. Your honored self needs to stay in the pass and treat your injuries. This subordinate will definitely live up to your honored self's trust and bring back young Master Qi. On top of a yellowish-brown horse, Li Chen whipped it, completely ignoring Chu Qing. Chu Qing walked on his knees a few steps. Your honored self is already injured and cannot lead troops any longer. This subordinate is begging you. Young Master Qi lured away the pursuers in order to keep your honored self safe. He would not want to see you even more hurt. Yet Li Chen only turned to Zhao Weidu. Listen to my orders. Hurry to the location of Sita's army. You will take over that army and capture him. I will personally interrogate him later. Zhao Weidu's heart chilled. Yes. Li Chen whipped his horse ruthlessly, toward the direction where Qi Yunruo had fled. Chu Qing chased after him. But in the end, once they had reached the edge of a cliff, they noticed a heavily injured Hong Xuan. Hong Xuan was at its last breath. It had lost a lot of blood. The Qiang people loved horses, so they did not slay the horses of their enemy, but they also did not save them, leaving Hong Xuan here. There were no marks left by the cliff's edge. Even Qi Yunruo's footprints were gone. Li Chen gazed at the Yun River below. He then ordered, have a group of people search beneath the cliff. Send another group to find the Qiang soldiers. Sita did not know that Li Chen's male pet had disappeared. He was following the original plan in marching with the army. At Yanluo Valley, he and his men had encountered an attack and suffered a long delay. After that, he met a throng of Qiang soldiers, and he led his army to kill them all. However, after he found out that those people had been searching for Prince Chun, fear struck him. Prince Chun was still alive. Not only was he alive, he even achieved a great victory against the Qiang people last night. After he reconsidered some things, he thought he could no longer help Prince Chun gain any more military merit. Then he ordered, no need to chase after the Qiang soldiers anymore. Prince Chun is more important. Have the men scatter right now. All must search for His Highness, Prince Chun. If the 100,000 men had acted together, then they would achieve complete victory, but because they had to scatter and save Prince Chun, that did not occur. This way, Prince Chun's victory would be lessened. Sita had only just thought of this and his order had not spread yet when he heard someone coldly say, no need. Fear pierced his heart once more. He widened his eyes. It was Prince Chun. Prince Chun rode a horse as he took his time saying, spread my command immediately, kill the Qiang soldiers on sight. Capture Fpyq. Sita forced a smile. Your Highness, it's great that your honored self is safe. Li Chen looked at him, gaze serene. He lifted a hand as he said, thank you for your support. Then dropped his hand and ordered, seize him. This general was appointed by His Majesty to guard Yusha Pass, yelled Sita. Even if your Highness wants to punish me, your honored self must report to His Majesty first and explain the reason in detail. Your honored self just casually touches important officials at the northwest border. Are you not afraid that His Majesty will be discontent? Sita's personal guards all shared a look, helpless. Some lowered their heads. What was on their minds was anyone's guess. Some did not know what was happening, faces full of doubt. Li Chen said again, "Seize them all." Yes. Sita gritted his teeth as he climbed down his horse, eyes never leaving Li Chen's figure. This humble general will wait for the court's decision. As Dong Cheng was being tied up, he had already scanned the area around Li Chen, yet he did not see that familiar figure. Ever since he had let Qi Yunruo go, he knew this day would come. Loyalty and righteousness could not coexist. He could only find himself at this outcome now. Li Chen also noticed him. His gaze grew hard to discern. After that was the worst moment in Fpyq's life. From who knew where, tens of thousands of men appeared, chasing after his remaining troops in a craze. Originally, after experiencing that huge defeat last night, he still had a few thousand men, waiting to catch Li Chen to turn the tables. But in the end, Li Chen led an army of 100,000 men, chasing them relentlessly. Fpyq fought as he retreated. After 3 days, the army of the great state of Kong had reached the gates of the Qiang territory. The Qiang people, who had relied on their valiant warriors that had never retreated for more than 100 years, finally experienced panic. End chapter. Fpyq Qiang. Chapter 39. Cheng Sija. At the edge of the Yun River, Cheng Sija barbecued meat, listening to the reports of his spies. They've advanced into the Qiang territory? This complicates matter. It seems that I've actually underestimated him. He had returned with some people. He was lightly wounded. After the successful ambush on Sita, he quickly retreated with his people, watching as Sita left with his troops in a grandiose manner to provide assistance to Prince Chun. After that, He and the others concealed their presence, secretly following the Han army. In their hiding spots, he saw Prince Chun capture Sita and realized that Sita had been exposed. Later, Li Chen and Zhao Weidu had acted as quick as lightning, counter-attacking the troops of Fpyq. The Qiang soldiers could no longer fend off their strikes, gradually meeting defeat. He had been hit in the volley of arrows, but his injuries weren't that serious. He made for Cheng Sija's location in a haste and had his injury treated. After he had reported what he knew to Cheng Sija, he noticed Qi Yunruo. Realization struck him and he eagerly said, "Your Highness. I understand now. Sita did not guard the secret well. Prince Chun had left Yushu Pass with around 5,000 men. He did not bring a male pet along at that time. It's this male pet that relayed Sita's plans to Prince Chun." He rose to his feet and paced back and forth. The more he thought about it, the more certain he became. A couple of days ago, I saw Li Chen dispatch a group of soldiers to search the area. So, they were looking for this male pet. Cheng Sija grunted in acknowledgement and lifted his head. "So it's like this," said He without hesitation. Cheng Sija turned to look at Qi Yunruo. All of a sudden, he smiled. "We will not return to our country. Your Highness, are we making for the royal capital of the Qiang?" Cheng Sija propped his chin with a hand. "If the soldiers of the great state of Kong truly exterminated the Qiang people, it will be the largest disadvantage for us. Our country has a small population and little land. As it is right now, we cannot fight against Yushu Pass. The Qiang people also did not follow my plan to destroy more than half of the army might at Yushu Pass. The Qiang people are the shield that we placed in front of us. Once the shield is gone, we will face danger. Yes, we will go to the royal capital of the Qiang." Qi Yunruo opened his eyes. He slowly swept his gaze through them. At Li Chen's study, he had once read a history book regarding the previous dynasty. In the final years of the great state of Hong, the sons and grandsons of the emperor and the sons of aristocratic and prominent families threw the capital in turmoil. Furthermore, more and more instances of exorbitant taxation occurred. At first, Crown Prince Ruiwen wanted to fix the court and clean up the realm. However, Crown Prince Rui was no match for the trap created by the joined forces of those prominent families and his own brothers. Due to their unceasing attacks, he met his downfall. The great state of Hong did not possess competent generals. As such, Crown Prince Ruiwen donned the armor of a general. He slayed thousands but was unable to fight against the Qi family's powerful army. The dynasty fell and a new dynasty rose. Crown Prince Ruiwen chose death by immolation. It was what was recorded in the history book, but in reality, Crown Prince Ruiwen's loyal subordinates saved him and brought him to the northwest region. They started over and within a few decades worth of time, they built the Xinyuan country from the ground up. He left behind messages for his descendants, that before they possessed the power to invade the central plains, the king must not reveal that they were descendants of the royal family of the great state of Hong. Once Cheng Sija was right in front of Qi Yunruo, he crouched. "Have you had a good meal?" The meat of wild geese was greasy. Qi Yunruo only ate one thigh. "Many thanks to your highness for the hospitality." After a few days, Qi Yunruo had composed himself. Although the road ahead was littered with danger, that there existed no opportunity to escape wasn't guaranteed. Half a day later, Cheng Sija stalled his horse. He looked at the sky. A messenger pigeon landed on his arm. In deference to his motions, Cheng Sija retrieved the message and gave it a look. He did not stir for a long time. His horse impatiently moved in place. Somewhat uneasy, Yuan Fpyq said, "Is it a message sent from our country?" Cheng Sija faintly grunted. The Cheng family had a firm foothold in the northwest. With the decades Crown Prince Ruiwen had spent in this place until after the reign of Cheng Sija's father, the Cheng family grew more and more influential in Xinyuan country. Once it reached Cheng Sija's generation, the indigenous Qi ethnic group did not intervene in politics as much anymore. After Cheng Sija reached 20 years of age, he married the eldest daughter of a prominent and influential family of the Qi people as his main consort. This was the last compromise between the Cheng family and the Qi people. However, never had Cheng Sija expected that his main consort, Fpyq, possessed a thirst for power from the start. She toyed with influence and was ruthless in her tactics. Following their marriage, not a day went by when she did not compete with Cheng Sija for power. The Cheng family did not have many members. Cheng Sija did not have a child yet. Fpyq's desire was to force Cheng Sija to abdicate and crown herself as a female ruler. After that, Cheng Sija had her seized. However, since he was afraid of the Qi people's retaliation, he did not execute her. Someone had sent a message from Xinyuan country saying that Fpyq lay at her deathbed. He heaved a long, deep sigh. Due to the matters concerning Fpyq, Cheng Sija lost any resemblance of favorable impression toward the Qi women. He spent the majority of his time outside the country, unwilling to return to his own. There was a reason for this. Ever since he kept Fpyq under house arrest, the Qi ethnic group kept on pestering him to pick another main consort. They hoped that the fourth-generation king would possess the blood of the Qi people. Then the Qi people's influence and status would grow. The best-case scenario was for the royal family to continue marrying members of the Qi people, adding the Qi blood to the Cheng family's descendants. "Your Highness, shall we return?" Yes. They followed alongside the Yun River, their steeds flying full force. One day later, they would arrive at Xinyuan country. Xinyuan country was a small nation built by many ethnicities. From there, it was possible to see the local customs of the northwest and the central plains. Cheng Sija and his trusted aide returned to the palace. The rest imprisoned Qi Yunruo in a secure place. Qi Yunruo was totally oblivious to the situation outside. He was locked in a courtyard for the common folk, his worry growing unimpeded. He didn't know how long Cheng Sija would stay in the palace. The prince did not know his location and was definitely worried. From the lips of Cheng Siji's subordinates, Li Chen had already advanced and broke through the Qiang people's territory. There was a chance he would see his elder sister and rescue her. Come evening, He paced about somewhat anxiously. The uneasiness in his heart continued to grow. He drank a sip of water and sat down. Thinking aloud, he said, "Don't tell me His Highness has to keep a watch on this poisonous woman all night? Why hasn't he sent someone to give us news in so long?" The next day, He roused early and noticed an abnormal sound outside. He cracked the door open and saw guards of the Qi ethnicity making rounds of interrogation. He stared at the leader of the group and muttered, "Suahtse? Shouldn't that youngster be stuck at home? Who reinstated his official position?" He's pupils dilated. In an instant, he shut the door, rushing back inside the house. He started to pack up. Sitting at the side, Qi Yunruo slightly frowned. "That Qi ethnic woman planned a trap," said He. "It's not safe here. We need to go." "Where can we go?" "If we leave right now, we'll be a ready-made target," said someone. Apart from He, the rest of the group were Cheng Siji's close vassals. The Qi people all knew their identities. He threw down his luggage and paced back and forth. Once he laid eyes on Qi Yunruo, they glowed. He grabbed his shirt collar and said, "They've never seen you before. Once they come, tell them you are the master of this place and that no one else lives here. Do you understand?" Qi Yunruo was shocked but immediately answered, "All right." He told the others to hide. He stayed at the side, waiting for the moment when those people outside knocked heavily at the doors. The instant the knock came, he opened the door. Qi Yunruo rushed over and calmly asked, "How may I help you, gentlemen?" Suahtse compared his appearance to that of the person in his painting and asked, "Are there only you two living here?" "Yes." As Suahtse made to leave, Qi Yunruo said, "What happened outside?" Impatiently Suahtse said, "The matters of the palace are none of your business." A chill swept through He's heart. After Suahtse had left, Qi Yunruo appeared pensive and He was already wrapped in so much urgency that he was frantic. "I knew from the beginning that Feng Qiang wasn't something good. How would being placed on house arrest cause her to be at death's door? How could that be possible? That Feng family really is daring." Qi Yunruo couldn't help but say, if it were true that the main consort was causing trouble, how could no one in the palace realize it? Even if the members of Feng family from inside and outside the palace conspired together, did King Cheng not leave any trusted aides in the palace? He responded by standing up, smacking the table in anger. "Tan Jiao. His Highness left Tan Jiao in the palace. And he was the one who sent His Highness the letter." Qi Yunruo tilted his head to the side, staring at him somewhat inquisitively. He couldn't help but say, Tan Jiao was the person His Highness trusted the most. He's the Prime Minister. His grandfather was one of the people who helped Crown Prince Rui Wen escape to the northwest. His 3 generations of descendants had been extremely loyal to the Cheng family. Although Qi Yunruo had wanted to borrow this chaos to escape, he didn't know the way back. He did not even have a horse. He could only stay here and feign civility with that hardly astute He. He asked, "Do you have any methods to rescue your king?" Disheartened, He said, "I spent many years outside the country and most of the people don't recognize me. However, once His Highness guards step foot outside the doors, they will be recognized and have no opportunity to move around. Is there anyone you can contact?" He said, "I know many unconditionally loyal subjects, but now I cannot even trust Tan Jiao. Which of them have a poor opinion of the Qi people and don't want them to enter the court?" asked Qi Yunruo. He nodded, and with a face full of excitement, he said, "I know someone like that." A moment later, He sent Qi Yunruo a suspicious gaze. Qi Yunruo earnestly said, "Although it's true that you people have captured me, right now I don't know anyone else apart from you. Those Qi people could be even more dangerous to me. In fact, the most important thing is that I have to wait for you and His Highness to meet for the exchange so that I can return to my country. He had a moment of careful thought. Those words seemed reasonable. He nodded. So you've got a good head on your shoulders. Cheng Sija had in fact wasn't expecting that Tan Qiao would betray him. In his heart, Tan Qiao was the person most unlikely to do so. However, once he had entered the palace and saw the tight security, Cheng Sija understood that in this world, there was no such thing as absolutes. Feng Jiang was living well and was even more gorgeous than ever. Her nails were painted scarlet, her red phoenix eyes looking at him at a slanted angle, drawn long with eyeliner at the corners. Her lips were bright red, nose high, and she smiled at Cheng Sija. It has truly been a while since we've last met, Your Highness. Cheng Sija glanced at her, and then glanced at Tan Qiao, who stood behind her. Feng Jiang gently caressed her lower abdomen. She smiled and said, Your Highness, for the sake of the country, you have run about outside for many years. This concubine cannot bear to see you continue facing the piercing wind and biting frost. I want your honored self to stay and relax for a few years. Oh! Cheng Sija also smiled. Feng Jiang's gaze fell upon Tan Qiao. In the final years, the child of this concubine and Your Highness will ascend the throne, and your honored self can thoroughly rest. My child. His smile never faltered. It is truly Your Highness' child. This concubine has been married to your honored self for many years and has finally conceived. Zhenyuan country now has a qualified successor. Truly the heavens' blessing. Cheng Sija was already thoroughly clued in. He furrowed his brows as he looked at Tan Qiao, who had remained silent from the start. Prime Minister Tan, what do you think? Tan Qiao said in a low voice, Her Highness has said it correctly. May Your Highness be at ease. This subject will assist the young master and cultivate him into a wise ruler. Cheng Sija said, Then I really must thank you, Prime Minister Tan. Feng Jiang lightly laughed as she beckoned to a eunuch behind her. Why have you not invited His Highness to rest yet? His Highness is travel-worn, and is probably fatigued. Tidy up the palace that I was staying in. His Highness will reside there. The eunuch bowed. Yes, Your Highness. A group of guards approached the front of the room. Cheng Sija stood with his hands clasped behind his back. I will see myself out. Feng Jiang's gaze and smile were beautiful as she looked at him. Cheng Sija flicked his wrist, unfurling his folded fan. He followed the guards out. Feng Jiang reached out behind her, toward Tan Qiao and touched him. A smile blossomed on her lips. Everything is in the palm of our hands. With just one word from Tan Qiao, those Han officials would listen and obey. The two of them had already gained control of the palace at the same time. Cheng Sija had been outside the country for many years, and could no longer control his people. Tan Qiao said, The king has countless spies outside. Those people only obey him. Even we have no way of knowing their identities and locations. Without the slightest concern, Feng Jiang said, Even the military is in our hands. What could a few spy worth to? If they are no longer willing to be loyal, then just drop them. But from the start, Tan Qiao was worried. Feng Jiang had always focused on the power within the Zhenyuan country, but Cheng Sija's goal had always been the whole world. Tan Qiao was not certain if he was doing the right thing. However, Feng Jiang was already pregnant with his child. If Cheng Sija gained the initiative by striking first, the two of them would meet a dead end. As such, he could only blindly take a risk out of desperation. In the future, the king of the Cheng family would be the descendant of the Tan family. The next day, He heard that the king ordered Tan Qiao to temporarily manage the affairs of the nation. He was so enraged that even his teeth hurt. After a moment of thought, Qi Yunruo said, At the very least, we are now certain who our enemy is. Apart from those who are against the Qi people and Tan Qiao's political opponents, the rest are our enemies. He fell silent. He was unable to utter a word. Tan Qiao's reputation was too sterling. Even the king had trusted him that much. Among the officials of the court, there will definitely be some who know that your king has continuously ran about from the Qiang territory and the great state of Kong, spending many years of mental and physical efforts, said Qi Yunruo with a somewhat neutral expression. If Tan Qiao makes frequent and unpredictable changes to policy, perhaps it would catch the attention of those people. He'll make those changes. Qi Yunruo tilted his head to the side. For instance, in my observations, King Cheng wants to consume the military power of the great state of Kong and the Qiang people. I'm assuming that he aspires to take over the Qiang people even more. Am I right? He nodded without a change in expression. How do you know that His Highness doesn't like the land of the great state of Kong more? If he actually had this ability, then he wouldn't be hiding behind the Qiang people since the beginning. He's expression was unsightly, but Qi Yunruo continued to say, there were some matters that King Cheng thought about and acted on, but that Tan person undermined him. In fact, he usurped his power. In my calculations, those people just want stability. They no longer want to fight. This is the so-called making frequent and immediate changes to policy. He clapped his hands. I understand now. Those people have just usurped power, and now must work on stabilizing the country. They don't dare to immediately handle foreign affairs. They've been in Xinyuan country year after year, and don't know which of the Qiang people His Highness has connections to. If they blindly stay put, they will cause those loyal to His Highness discontent. End chapter. Fpyq Jiang. Chapter 40. So-called members of the council. Once Yuan Fpyq and the people with him had stepped foot within the palace, they were stripped of their weapons and imprisoned somewhere else. Cheng Sijia was detained in the residence that Feng Qiang had been imprisoned earlier. Unperturbed, he as the king had become a prisoner. It was as if he had no trouble adapting to these circumstances. A maidservant of the Qi ethnicity brought his meal. With a smile on his lips, Cheng Sijia expressed his thanks. At this moment, He had only brought a few of Cheng Sijia's guards as they rode their horses in a grandiose manner. Their destination was the household of an old subject named Sheng Guanyao. At the front doors, he yelled, "This subordinate is His Highness personally decreed member of the Qiang Council, and asks for an audience with Sir Sheng Guan." He paraded himself ostentatiously about since the beginning, attracting the gazes of many. Someone said in a low voice, "A member of the Qiang Council? What is this? I've never heard of this official position before." He pulled the reins tightly. He scanned his surroundings and then he took out an official seal and shouted, "This one possesses His Highness' support, and is in charge of investigating important matters of the Qiang people and relaying it back to our country." A spy. He was a spy sent by His Highness. The moment the crowd started to grow impassioned and loud, the doors of the Sheng Guan family's estate opened. The gatekeeper said, "Our master has invited your honored self in." He dismounted his horse. He tilted his head high and he straightened his back. Qi Yunruo was hidden among the imperial guards, pulling down the hood of his cloak and following them inside. Sheng Guanyao was over 60 years old with a head full of white hair. However, he was very energetic. He examined He met his gaze calmly. Sheng Guanyao said, "Gentlemen, this subordinate is not responsible for matters concerning the members of the council." Qi Yunruo said, "Sir Sheng Guan, we are merely waiting to receive His Highness' order. The great state of Kong has besieged the Qiang people. The Western Owl tribe has taken a devastating decline. Bo2K's position is unstable. Therefore, he is requesting help from His Highness. We suddenly could not contact His Highness, and could only return here. We have just heard that His Highness received heavy injuries, and Prime Minister Tan took over the affairs of the nation." It was uncertain how much Sheng Guanyao actually believed them. His gaze fell upon Qi Yunruo for a long period. Then he asked, "Since this is the case, why have these gentlemen come to my estate and not visit Prime Minister Tan's instead?" Qi Yunruo smiled. He lowered his head and gave a light cough. This subordinate has once heard His Highness say that Prime Minister Tan is illiterate. While caution is wise, being too conservative and refusing to change would prove foolhardy. In the past, Sir Shangguan took a post as the Grand Commandant, not only proficient in internal affairs of the state, but also very knowledgeable about the situations of the Qiang people and the great state of Kong. Your honored self is someone who can make decisions in this matter. A trace of a smile revealed itself on Shangguan Yao's face. I'm already old. Then he looked at Qi Yunruo again. Does your family have someone working in the court as an official? You look familiar. Qi Yunruo's heart chilled. This subordinate is of civilian birth and has run about outside the nation. Shangguan Yao grunted in acknowledgement and nodded. Their group was so loud in their march that everyone knew they were headed to the Shangguan family's estate. Tan Qiao and Feng Qiang naturally also heard this news. Tan Qiao said, Shangguan Yao would certainly send them into the palace. We should prepare ourselves. Without a care in the world, Feng Qiang said, what kind of preparations? If they are willing to hear us out, then they will continue to stay in the Qiang territory. If any issues arise, then just remove them from office. Her tone became somewhat serious. If they must absolutely see Cheng Sija, then send them to their master. Tan Qiao fell silent. In the afternoon, Shangguan Yao brought Qi Yunruo's group into the palace. Chahi's heart raced. He looked at the calm Qi Yunruo and asked softly, are you not afraid? Qi Yunruo glanced at him. This is already the worst case scenario. What should I be afraid of? This rendered Chahi speechless. Qi Yunruo indeed was not afraid. At the most critical juncture, he had leapt into the Yun River. After that, Xinyuan country's king captured him. This was already the most dangerous situation he had ever been in his more than 10 years in the world. If he successfully rescued Cheng Sija might release him or perhaps, use him in exchange for benefit as in his original plan. If he failed, Xinyuan country would fall into a new chaotic situation. Without a vile character like Cheng Sija, it might be a good thing for His Highness. Furthermore, His Highness perhaps already thought he had met his demise. Tan Qiao did not receive them in the main hall. After all, sending spies to other places was not a just and honorable matter. In a side palace hall, Qi Yunruo looked all around. He followed Chahi. Once Chahi caught sight of the sanctimonious appearance of Tan Qiao, he wanted to pounce at him and bite him to death. However, he held back in the end. After Shangguan Yao had introduced them, Tan Qiao asked them head-on, what is the situation with the Qiang people? May the members of the council directly report to me. We are His Highness' direct subordinates and will only report to His Highness. Tan Qiao frowned. His Highness received heavy injuries in the frontier and has appointed me to handle government affairs. Her Highness, the Queen, is taking care of His Highness right now. Doubt bleeding into his tone, Qi Yunruo said, our work requires us to be outside the nation, and as such we do not know the circumstances within the nation. Wasn't the Queen already deposed? Weren't preparations being made to have a Han woman replace her as the main consort? Cold enough to freeze, Tan Qiao retorted, complete nonsense. Qi Yunruo did not respond. However, Shangguan Yao glanced at Tan Qiao. With indifference, Chahi reported the request of Fpyq. Tan Qiao said, Fpyq is an arrow at the end of its flight, spurned by a Gumuer. He no longer holds value to us. So what you're saying is that right now, a Gumuer is relying heavily on Fpyq. That we should forge a good relationship with Fpyq at present. Not a word escaped the lips of Chahi and Qi Yunruo. Shangguan Yao said impassively, is this His Highness' intention? Tan Qiao froze. Then he said, yes. Shangguan Yao said, I think the Prime Minister should ask His Highness first. His Highness is recovering from his injuries at the moment. It's inconvenient for us to disturb him, so your honored self should discuss with him. Tan Qiao sneered. As subjects, when His Highness is injured or sick, must we ask him for guidance on every insignificant thing? His Highness wants me to manage the affairs of the nation temporarily. Is Sir Shangguan discontent with me or with His Highness? But Shangguan Yao was not one bit afraid. He coldly said, "Don't tell me you don't understand? We can only expand our land by going through Fpyq. If Fpyq becomes the next leader of the Qiang people, I'm afraid we subjects of Xinyuan country would not even have the chance to drink soup." "Why should Xinyuan country always think about seeking expansion?" said Tan Qiao straightforwardly. "Our land is fertile, our supplies aplenty. The other territories in the northwest, if they're not desolate and infertile, then the climate is extremely unforgiving. There's no point in invading those." Qi Yunruo looked at them and said, "Since the Prime Minister has said so, we will not speak of this any further." He glared at Qi Yunruo full of resentment. Qi Yunruo pulled him to his feet. They left with Shangguan Yao. Once they had stepped foot outside the palace, He angrily said, "This vile character completely doesn't care about His Highness' intentions." Once Qi Yunruo had pulled at him, He realized Shangguan Yao was still present. Qi Yunruo approached the old subject. "Sir Shangguan, could it be that your honored self hadn't suspected anything in the past?" Shangguan Yao said, "The motive of you people today was not to enter the palace. Rather, your motive was me." Qi Yunruo nodded calmly. However, Shangguan Yao did not speak any further. He brought them back to his estate. Noticing that he still hadn't made any movements at night, He grew furious. In his eyes, that old fart was afraid and didn't dare to oppose Tan Qiao. Shangguan Yao had allowed Qi Yunruo to walk about freely, as he went to borrow some books from the library. Shangguan Yao had an extensive collection. As Qi Yunruo browsed some books as he pleased, he discovered a book in a corner. Unexpectedly, it was about the history of Xinyuan country. Crown Prince Ruiwen established Xinyuan country. However, that was not where the book started. The last emperor of the great state of Hong wrote this historical text. Qi Yunruo once again flipped to the first page. And he realized someone from the same generation as Shangguan Yao's father had written this book. Once the Li clan had raised an army, they advanced from the south, and the generals of the great state of Hong lost battle after battle. In the insurrection, there was a valiant general with the surname of Qi. General Qi fought at the vanguard of his troops, and helped the Li clan take over half the country. And it was this General Qi who broke through the capital. Only then did the officials of the country finally surrender. Moreover, before the Li clan's ancestors entered the capital, he dealt with those officials swiftly and decisively. In the beginning, they left the civilians alone. But it was this fact that caused the new emperor discontent. After that, General Qi fellow colleagues denounced him. Among the 5 titles, he was only conferred as a count. Although it was of a high rank, if it were a duke, it would be considered superior. If it were a marquis, it would be considered in the middle, but a count, it was inferior. The Qi family head originally should have been conferred a prince status. Afterwards, for decades, those in power had restrained them out of fear. The generations of Count Xiangs used their life to protect the border. Only then were they able to maintain the status of Count Xiang's estate until now. Qi Yunruo set down the book. He recalled back at Yushu Pass when the storyteller spoke about General Qi Ran. Then recalled in his childhood that Count Xiang had still been an important general, who was stationed at the border all year round. Now, Count Xiang's eldest legitimate son walked on the path of a civil official. In this life, he would not have a chance to involve himself with military power. But military power wasn't something the current ruler could take whenever he wanted. Qi Yunruo could not help but feel somewhat curious. Back then, why did Count Xiang, Qi Suxiao, yield his military power to the emperor? And the emperor not only took the Qi family's army that was more than 100 years old. He even scattered that army, throwing the members into other armies. All of a sudden, Qi Yunruo froze. The Qi family. Qi Suxiao. Big sister Yuan had said that because of censure from the imperial censors, accusations of misconduct with women, Qi Suxiao left his mother. Could this be the only reason? The next day, Chahi heard a piece of news that was anything but reassuring. The real members of the Qiang Council had arrived at Xinyuan country. Chahi and those people were strangers, and only shared the same master. The so-called request from Fpyq was merely Qi Yunruo's lie. Qi Yunruo utilized the information he knew and thought that reason was the most believable. In the end, the members of the Qiang Council actually sent people to ask for help. Chahi did not obstruct his peers. He only prepared to escape. Shang Guanyao drank tea as he listened to them discuss where to flee. Chahi said, "Old fart. Yesterday you brought us into the palace. If something happens to me, you won't have a good outcome either." Shang Guanyao smiled. "I'm just an elderly person that you people deceived." The Shang Guan family's estate was already surrounded. Chahi continued to scold his peers. Could it be that they just directly entered the palace without knowing the circumstances? Wasn't that stupid? And they even exposed us. The council member, Mu Dong, who did not know their group had already visited the palace, originally rushed back to the country to discuss Fpyq's request with the king. After he had finished speaking, Tan Qiao seized him and he became brothers in suffering with Yuan Fpyq. Chahi prepared to escape even if it meant killing others. The one who was in charge of leading their capture was Suahset. He was of the Qi people. In the past, he had been dismissed from office for taking liberties with a Han woman. At that time, the king did his utmost to suppress the influence of the Qi people. He sternly punished them when they committed crimes. Now, it wasn't just him, but numerous former officials of Qi descent regained their positions. Some had even been promoted. Shang Guanyao said, "You guys had better go outside. Don't dirty my house." He sighed. "Once a fight breaks out, my furniture and plants cannot be saved." Chahi gritted his teeth. He left with his knife. Yet Shang Guanyao said to Qi Yunruo, "Why are you following that group of boors? Just stay here." Chahi whipped his head to Qi Yunruo's direction. "You dare?" Baffled, Qi Yunruo said, "Why should I not dare?" End chapter.